Letter to James, chapter 1. It's right next to Hebrews. James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes in the dispersion, greetings. Okay. Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds, for you know that the testing of your faith produces steadfastness, the testing of our faith. And let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, John 14, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. But let him ask in faith. You got to believe it. With no doubting, for the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord. He is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. It's kind of like, the sun's coming up tomorrow. You don't really question it. You got to have the kind of, shouldn't be difficult. Let the lowly brother boast in his exaltation, and the rich in his humiliation. In other words, the lowly brother, maybe the guy's low in status or income or whatever the case is, and he exalts God. So why is this guy so happy? He's got nothing, but he's got God. And the same token, he says, on the other side of the token, you've got, and the rich in his humiliation. Because all this man is so rich and everything else, but he's very humble knowing that he ain't all that. Because like a flower of the grass, he will pass away. For the sun rises with its scorching heat and withers the grass. Its flower falls and its beauty perishes. So also will the rich man fade away in the midst of his pursuits. So easy to get lost, lose our faith, and put that on the back burner when we're striving, for this, that, and the other thing, and clawing your way to whatever it is you're after. It's the stuff we do in our 20s and 30s. And then when you get to 50, you realize, you got to get your priorities right. So also will the rich man fade away in the midst of his pursuits. Blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial. For when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. That's a heck of a statement. Let no one say when he is tempted, I am tempted by God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, and he himself tempts no one. But each person is tempted when he is lured and enticed by his own desire. You want to go out and follow your own selfish needs, this sort of thing, God will let you. And then he'll just let them have their way with you. You talk about people say, well, Christians, don't they have protection? We have protection of the Lord, this kind of thing. As long as you're doing his will, you're walking out the teachings of Jesus. Go back to what they said about humility, this and that. I don't want to get off on the rabbit hole there. It's like saying, let's say, I know there's a God, there's Jesus and all this, but I'm just going to do my own thing. God will allow you to do your own thing and just leave you alone. You have and we're walking in a spiritual realm, in a spiritual world, where the beast is out there to eat you alive and tear you apart. We need the protection of God, provided through the Lord Jesus Christ. So if you say, well, I'm just going to go it alone. Okay, the beast is cool with that. And so is God. You want to do that, do your own thing, free will. And then we get eaten alive. Or end up working for the beast, either way. Then desire, when it is conceived, gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is fully grown, brings forth death. Do not be deceived, my beloved brothers. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow due to change. God does not change. Of his own will he brought us forth by the word of truth. That's Jesus, that we should be a kind of first fruits of creatures. of his creatures. Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger, for the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Therefore put away all filthiness and rampant wickedness, and receive with meekness the implanted word. That's what this is. Receive with meekness the implanted word, which is able to save your souls. Why do you have to receive it with meekness? So many people, that's why I say it's very, people that have had a supernatural experience, it's much easier for them. But so many people they go at this book with some sort of intellect. Well, I don't know, this logically this, or, God's saying this, that, and the other thing, or there's miracles, this, and that. Just read it. Just read it. We don't have it figured out. And there's no you got these smart guys on YouTube, these geniuses that want to tell you the other, or people that want to use intellect to debunk the Bible. Let them. That has nothing to do with you. You come with meek. We don't have this thing figured out. Our intellect does us no good here. Try to analyze it and get it all dialed in and figured out and tell people, here's what it means and all that. And most of the time we're wrong. So receive the implanted word with meekness. But be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks intently at his natural face in a mirror. For he looks at himself and goes away and at once forgets what he was like. But the one who looks into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and perseveres, being no hearer who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be blessed in his doing. If anyone thinks he is religious and does not bridle his tongue, that's a big one for our entire culture, does not bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, this person's religion is worthless. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God, the Father, is this: to visit orphans and widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unstained from the world. So often we're caught up in our cultures changes us. Our culture will change us. We act on the culture that's around us, whatever culture you're in. You could be whatever your thing is. You could be, I got to not get off on these tangents. But we let the world make us who we are. And that's a difficulty. There are things I do, things I believe or will say, or beliefs that I have, or because I'm reacting to what the world has done to me. Okay, and that is not always in line with this. And that's why we have to be in this to keep ourselves in line. What was the last thing that said there? I'm visiting orphans and widows. Some says, well, God, I have to go visit orphans and widows. That's what. No, but you got to have that attitude. If you were to visit orphans, we have a hospital here with kids terminally ill. Now, does that mean we have to go every week to visit those kids? Okay, yeah, it'd be nice if we did, and we took that kind of time. But the same token, just to have the attitude that there's people there to understand that we have it pretty good. Okay. They don't. And then you look at every human transaction that you have. If you keep that in mind, that, hey, there's people that have it very bad, we have it very good, and so we need to treat each other better because we've been blessed that we're still here. We're not laying in a bed somewhere, waiting to die or whatever the case is. And that changes if you have the attitude of someone who would help the widows and visit the what was the other one? The orphans. Visiting the orphans and the widows. If you have that mindset, that attitude, you treat people differently. You treat people better. Okay? We get caught up in all this politics and everything else, but at the end of the day, we're all still humans, and he's watching all of us. That was James chapter 1. Love you. God bless.